tangible understanding of compassion. It's been a long time till I'm able to actually speak on compassion, because it's been a very interesting, with having many different people teach many different things. People use the term all the time, having compassion for people. So what is compassion? But most importantly for me, and the reason that I really don't speak up until I have a tangible understanding of something. You can follow all the spiritual people from the past and understandings and these kind of things, but until it is embodied and I'm like, okay, I get this concept now. I understand what compassion is. And if you're confused by it, because everybody's saying it, what we need now, is compassion. It's like, what is that? Well, what I can say is what it isn't. It's not feeling sorry for people. And that's probably the biggest misconception of compassion. And probably, like, the way that I wouldn't say it, it's wrong. It's just immature. Because if you can imagine that compassion seems to be this broad term that we're using, then it would be, what are we giving to other people? This is something that we can bring to the world. So what is compassion? Well, it's something beautiful that we can offer to the world. And so I'm going to talk about like how it shows up, what we can do about it, how we can ignite it and work with it and change our relationship. So the difference in paradigm A, let's call that the ego verse. That's living inside of this ego-created identity world where people work on status between each other. It's the separation. And in the ego verse, it's something that we have. It's like the baby out with the bathwater. We can't say that the ego verse is doing everything wrong. It's playing with big elements, but it's playing with them in small ways. It's like empathy. If we look at what empathy is, so this is how I would define empathy. Empathy is an actual thing that can connect us with other people. And we can actually provoke empathy. We actually have a vagus nerve that is like where we feel like when somebody else is hurting, we can connect with that. And then we can actually use empathy by changing the thoughts we think about. And so you could say that like people will have empathy, but they'll get it wrong because they'll create a story in their head which provokes a connection with empathy, but that story doesn't necessarily match what the other person's going through. It can just meet their own fears and these kind of things. So how do we mature compassionately? The first thing to say about compassion is it's giving something of higher value to people. So if we're feeling sorry for people and we're meeting them at a downward trajectory, then that isn't offering them an uplift, an upticking experience. So when we say we want to be compassionate, it's like offer something good, offer something of value, which is a higher vibration of where you're coming from. So it is like awakening then and becoming more wise. It's in knowing how to use empathy properly, how to actually have compassion and send something beautiful out to people. So let's look at how kind of compassion, the idea, and I like using the terms passion in this sense. If we look at just passion, if you look at it from kind of a young point of view, immature understanding of passion is, I gotta fight, I gotta get up, and I gotta be motivated, and I've gotta like stoke and stroke this engine of passion to get out, to get up, to fire into the day. And actually, that's the beginning of passion. And that's like, it's like, I think of it as like, that's the yellow flames in a propane stove. It's like just getting started, and it flickers on and off. And this is the heat, and then the discharge. The heat and then the discharge. So that's how we think of passion. Is passion, sometimes happens to us. It's non-voluntary, and sometimes it is voluntary, where we're motivating ourselves to be passionate, to push towards something, to have a goal, to have an idea, and we push towards that idea. But we can kind of get sick of these waves, because it's like, whew, passion can be like, and then crash, up, crash, up, crash. And what ends up happening with passion is that it matures. And to me, that's like when that yellow flame turns into that blue flame, and it just burns perfectly. It's not flittering around. It's just that nice blue flame. And so what do we do? So I see this as frequency now. Everything is frequency. And so to me, it's about what is compassion. It is taking that passion, whatever form of positive upticking that we're able to connect within ourselves, and giving that to the world and connecting with it through our empathy, discharging it into the world. We can actually ignite passion within ourselves and make it more voluntary, where we sign up to be grateful, to live in a state of appreciation, these higher levels of vibration, in that glowing state of that beautiful burn. But we don't have to burn ourselves out. And that is the offering. So when we are in a state of gratitude, we give that back. And then the question is, but what if something horrific happens to somebody? It's like, it's still the same thing. You don't give away being sorry for people. Being sorry is a down-ticking experience. It's where they're at already. And we have this idea that we need to connect with that person through words. But we can sit with people. People are going through pain. That's the ability. That's mature passion. Is that we sat with our pain. We embodied our pain. And that changes us vibrationally. It changes us. And then the ability to just sit with somebody that's going through these kind of things. Because if you just look at the misuse of compassion, is to put fire to injustices and all these movements. It's coming from a place. There is this wanting to be passionate about something, but it's coming from a place of a down-ticking experience. So thinking in terms of what does this look like vibrationally? For Lenzafarianism is about finding the good sensations and the good feelings. And these are all higher vibrational sensations. And that's what we talk about, getting to sincerity, finding joy, finding kindness, power, like real power, wise power, innate power, powerful playfulness, all of these things. These are all the gifts that we give away in compassion. This is what we do to send this new vibrational state out into the world. That is what compassion is complete passion. So the person, you may be starting and being like, I don't know what to do. Well, let's start off with this idea. Start off with the idea that if I'm going to be compassionate, it means I have to be giving something of value back to somebody. So if you're at a lower just be aware, if you're a lower state, if somebody's state brought you lower, or you met that state with them, then that isn't the thing that you want to give. That's not the gift that you're going to be given. And that can mean just that the first step is just sit with somebody that's going through that without taking on their grief. Just sit in solitude. And then you can always ask them, if you want to share, please share. Give something of value. Give something of a vibrational pattern that is of a higher essence. And that's super easy. So this idea, like in our culture, like I would say it's the ego versus mantra when bad things happen in the world is thoughts and prayers. Does anybody else just feel like that's nonsense? And it is, because we kind of know how people's minds work, and their thoughts are scrambling and going all over the place, and they don't even know where they're at. And why would I want somebody's thoughts? That's the first part. So like, what is it? And I've completely switch the gears. What I consider, I don't say that I pray. My prayers are gratitude. That is me getting into a space of gratitude, and that is my prayers. That if somebody wants me to pray for them, I will get into a place of appreciation, gratitude, and then if I'm able to lensify, which this very much helps, to see bigger visions that other people can't see about the situation, and hold that space of what that future looks like, that possibility looks like, and hold that vibration. That's doing something when you're praying, not just saying words of like how you want to manipulate reality and control reality, but you're literally going into the frequency and vibration of things. So it doesn't matter where you start, but have a tangible understanding of what compassion is giving something of a higher vibration, a higher value to somebody. It isn't about feeling sorry for people. That's a huge, huge aspect and a tangible aspect. And then start lensifying the world and find these other great sensations, because these are all the other gifts that we can give to the world, is to be in these states of being. It is part of that blue flame, that just fiery blue flame that's calm, that can just sit in quietude. And that is the maturation of the human being, is to be able to take passion and evolve it into complete passion. And it is ironic, and it doesn't seem to make sense, that fire is then in contentment. That fire is in sitting in timelessness. It is Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree. It's interesting how the universe works. Anyway, I hope this is helpful for your ride.